Joshua Kraft from the great class of 1989 is currently president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston, an organization whose high-impact programs enable 14,000 children and teens from low-income neighborhoods in greater Boston to become responsible citizens and leaders. Within a year of graduating from Williams, Josh was on the streets of South Boston, working with disadvantaged youth, performing educational outreach for the South Boston Boys and Girls Club of Boston. He then spent the next 15 years in Chelsea, Massachusetts, building what, in the words of one supporter, has become a model Boys and Girls Club in the nation. During his tenure in Chelsea, Josh led the after-school program from the basement of a public housing development. It was ultimately a driving force in the successful $12 million capital campaign that led to the creation of the current state-of-the-art 44,000 square foot building that now serves nearly 1,000 children and teens. His work in Chelsea led to his selection to his current position after a national search in 2008. And Josh also serves on the board of directors for the Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare Foundation, Boston After School and Beyond, and Julie's Family Learning Program in South Boston. He is the recipient of several awards, including the Boy Scouts of America Whitney M. Young Service Award, the Massachusetts ARC Distinguished Citizen Award, the Chelsea Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year, the Boys and Girls Clubs of America Yankee Chapter Executive of the Year, and the Chelsea Community Person of the Year. He also serves as Director of Strategic Partnerships at the New England Patriots Foundation, which supports a wide range of charitable causes throughout the New England region. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you, Bill. Bill, also a former member of the Executive Committee of the Society of Alumni, which administers these medals. Josh.
Thank you, Chris, and congratulations, President Falk, and again, congratulations to my fellow medalists here as well. Similar to everybody else, I have a couple thoughts about being awarded the medal. The first is, I told Chris, I was like, damn, they must have destroyed all the video from the Williams pub circa 1988. Because there's no way I should be up here. And then after hearing the fellow panelists speak here, seeing Camille's work on the screen before, reading everybody's bio, thinking, what am I doing up here? I guess there's some crucial need to deflate the cumulative GPA of all the... So here I am to do it, so thank you. But no, all honesty, thank you very much. I'm just going to start with a story about a wealthy guy from the Silicon Valley. And because we're the Williams community, we'll say we are assuming he was probably a Stanford grad. But anyway, very wealthy, successful gentleman from the Silicon Valley. Every spring, him and his friends would go up fishing way up north around the Inuit villages. And I guess you would call it in the northern part of the world, northern part of the northern hemisphere, way up. And you know, every year they had the same guide, and it would be in the spring, and they'd meet the guide. The guide said, oh, you know, we got to do 2 burials of teenagers this spring because these kids, there's an incredibly high suicide rate. And because there's so much despair in these areas, kids would kill themselves in the dead of winter. And because the ground was so frozen, they had to wait till the spring for the burials. So 2-3 years in a row, this guy would go up there and hear the stories from the same guide. So eventually, he contacted the Boys and Girls Club of America, was able to get some government funding, and they set up a Boys and Girls Club up there in this area that served a bunch of the villages. You know, they got it staffed, they got the building built. The first year, after a full year of operation, this Stanford grad, we think, jumped on a plane, hooked up with his guide. The guide said, no more suicides. First year in years, we had no suicides. And it was really this Boys and Girls Club and the hope, the opportunity, and the sense of community that these kids felt going in there every day that fought the despair that was so pervasive in this community, especially during the, you know, everlasting winter months. And so it was this sense of hope, this feeling of hope, opportunity, and sense of community that I first came into contact with 20 years ago. You know, I grew up clueless from the mean streets of Chestnut Hill, Mass. You know, I was sheltered my whole life. Really, quite frankly, I say the lucky DNA club. My first day was so eye-opening for me doing this work, and I saw firsthand things I'd only heard about, drugs and alcohol abuse, teen pregnancy, undereducation, school truancy, domestic violence, random violence, anything and everything, unfortunately, we all read about every day. So I'd always read about it, but I'd never seen it firsthand. So 20 years ago, I saw it firsthand. And then at the same time, I saw firsthand what makes the Boys and Girls Club so unique and so powerful throughout the country is the sense of hope, opportunity, and the sense of community it provides for every single kid who comes in the door, black, white, Latino, Latina, Asian, physically or mentally challenged, doesn't matter. 2 family homes, every kid is treated the same. And the reason the clubs work so well is this, and provide this hope and opportunity, is through relationships, human relationships that really have sustained all of us since the day we stepped foot on the earth. And it's really that relationships and the sense of community that have sustained the kids and made the Boys and Girls Clubs such a viable part of, again, this country for 150 years. And talk about community, right here we have a community here, a Williams College community. We've heard about everybody's experience here, and I know we all have our different communities, and you just think of how important those are to you. And I had the great fortune of working with so many great people and coming into contact with so many great families, people who've dedicated their lives. I do know when I was in Chelsea, back in 03 or 04, I got a letter from a kid who I knew on the email, say a letter, an email. And I just wanted to share it. So this was in 2003, he sent this to me, and the kid had moved out of Chelsea with his family in 1998. And again, this speaks to the power of community, the power of relationships. And of course, it's at Boys and Girls Club, but again, it is everywhere. It's in this room, as I said. I just recently graduated from the University of Southern Florida with my bachelor's and was thinking about the people who have helped me get to where I am today. And the Boys and Girls Club of Chelsea was on the top of that list. I just wanted you to know that I'm extremely grateful for all that the club has done for me and my family and all the kids in Chelsea over the years. Words cannot describe the impact that it has made in my life, my sister's life, and how much easier it made things for my mother to raise us in the circumstances we were in. The club inspired me to want to make a difference in lives every day. Hopefully soon I can find a job working with kids and helping families. So again, as a kid we hadn't seen in 3 or 4 years. He had moved away, or actually longer, 4 or 5 years, because he moved away in middle school, and then he was writing post-college. So, I mean, he moved away in early high school. He's writing post-college. So again, it's that power. So beyond the relationships, the other thing we talked about, community, the community of relationships within the Boys and Girls Club with adults that make a professional choice to work at a club. When I was at the Chelsea Club, for years, guys I graduated school with, Chris probably knows many of them, they'd always say, do you get paid for what you do? Or if I'd play pickup basketball and I'd hit my free throw to stay in the game, like, well, you get to play basketball all day, you should hit it. I'm like, yeah. So when this is true, when I left the Chelsea Club in 2008, we had 14 full-time staff, 12 had bachelors, and 5 of the 12 had graduate degrees. So these are people that have made a conscious decision to do what they do. And again, I keep talking about the relationships, this sense of community. At Boys and Girls Club, we also don't see ourselves as a nonprofit. We see ourselves as a partner, and we're a partner in the community. We partner with for-profits, and not just for corporate donations, et cetera, which of course are important, but for instance, Converse sneakers hold sales meetings at our clubs to get people, their staff into the door, but it's a great place for them to get away from the building and have their sales meetings, in addition to being financially generous as well as donating product to us. We partner with hundreds of nonprofits. The Greater Boston Food Bank, we're able to feed, and actually the New England Patriots Foundation, we're able to feed 1,200 kids a hot meal every day at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston. We partner with educational institutions. Unfortunately, Williams is a little removed from Boston. We have a formal partnership with Northeastern University and our Yawkey Club of Roxbury. Again, it's the power of relationships, power of community relationships. Of course, we partner with many donors and individuals who support our clubs, as well as public institutions such as the Chelsea School Department. We're a site for their extended learning time days, et cetera. So we really feel that it's the relationships in the community inside the club and outside the club that have driven us for, the Boys and Girls Clubs for so long, and such an integral part of the community. And I'll leave you with, again, another story, another macro story. In 1992, after the riots in Los Angeles, after the Rodney King jury decision, after the riots, where there was $1 billion of damage caused throughout Los Angeles, and South Central was one of the hardest hit. President Bush, older Bush at the time, obviously, needed a place to go, visit, and speak. The one building that was untouched in all the riots was the Challenger Boys and Girls Club in that area. And that speaks volumes to, again, the hope, the opportunity, and the sense of community. So again, thank you, and I'm sure Chris took care of all those videos from the Purple Pub for me, right, Chris? Don't bribe me in 20 years or something.